Welcome to the 8th grade, soon to be 9th grade parent night. I'm Chris Weber, and I'm the principal here at Fernandina Beach High School. We'll do a quick introduction on the people that will be speaking today. Well, Laura will, but she gets off on this one. This is Dr. Laura LaRose, she's our new assistant principal. This is Sarah Coombs, she's one of the school counselors. Rob Hicks, and Courtney Hart. And they steal the show today. This is kind of their thing. They'll go over all the information that we have tonight. Before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about a special group that we have, and yes, this is a shameless plug. It's for our Fernandina Beach High School Foundation. And the foundation is a group that started way back in the 80s that just said, we're going to help financially support the school and support the teachers. And so what that means is that over the last 30 whatever years that they've been doing this 40, coming up on 40 years now actually, we'll have the 40th anniversary soon. They've been raising funds and then been giving the funds to us as a school and teachers in forms of school grants, where they're what we call bridge the gap for financial resources, for materials, resources, calculators, arts, band, everything. And teachers put in for these grants, and they have raised $1.7 million, and they've made a pledge over the next 10 years to give back $1 million to the school. And we do fundraisers each year. We actually have some foundation members over here in the back. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna share a video that we've done this past school year to give a little bit more information about what the foundation does for our school. And if you feel so inclined, there's some information on there for you to learn more about it. They have a website, and like I said, they just do such a great job in helping us bridge the gap for funding. So here is the Fernandina Beach High School 2026 update.
Several years ago, we stood as a community and we made a promise to the next generation of Fernandina Beach. We called it the Pirate Advantage 2025. It wasn't just a slogan, it was a commitment to our students and our teachers. It was a promise to bridge a gap between a good education and a truly exceptional one. The kind of education that every single one of our kids deserves. Of course, we wanted to see our graduation rates climb. But more than that, we wanted to keep our incredible, dedicated teachers right here pouring into our students. And we wanted to ensure that every single student who walked across that graduation stage, they did so with a real, tangible plan for their future. We knew resources were needed to achieve such a feat. So with this in mind, the FBHS Foundation set a big goal, an audacious one, to provide $1 million in resources to FBHS over 10 years. And today, because of you, and because of the generosity of this community, we can look back with gratitude and see a promise kept. You know, it all started with the fundamentals, the building blocks of opportunity. We started with calculators that meant more students than ever could walk into an AP class, an AP exam, not with anxiety, but with confidence. It funded our journalism program, giving students a platform to find their voice and become engaged citizens. It was bringing science to life, off the page and into their hands, sparking a curiosity that lasts a lifetime. And the Cove, our own campus store, an idea that took 2 years to come to life, and the foundation provided the seed money to start the Cove's first stock of merchandise. Now the Cove independently thrives and gives an opportunity for our business and entrepreneurship students to have a real life experience of how to run a store. We knew a great school is about more than just academics. It's about caring for the whole student, their minds, their bodies, and their hearts. And when we saw a need for mental health support, the foundation stepped up without hesitation to fund our Hope Squad. And our Hope Squad empowers our students to create a culture of care for one another. When our athletes needed to get stronger, you helped us make sure they did it smarter. Donations to the foundation provided the Coach Me Plus app. And it's this cool tool that puts safety first, guiding each student on their own unique path. It's about preventing injury, but it's also about unlocking potential, helping them to see just how much they truly are capable of doing. Of course, none of this success happens without our teachers. They're the absolute heart of this school. They're the ones that are on the front lines every day, pouring themselves out for our students. And that's why seeing a space like the Bridge come to life is so powerful. It's more than just a room, it's a place for them to collaborate, to be refreshed and to grow. It's a direct investment in the people who are investing in our kids every day. As we close this specific chapter of Power Advantage 2025, the mission continues. The needs evolve, and so does our support. We're even beginning to support high school credit classes at the middle school. We're planting seeds for success earlier than ever before. Fernandina Beach High School is a special place because this community decided it would be. The story of the Pirate Advantage isn't just about programs or numbers. It's about the spirit of this community, and it's reflected in the life of every student who walks these halls. On behalf of all of us here at the school, we thank you. Thank you for being partners in this work, and thank you for being a part of their story. Give today to continue the Pirate Advantage.
Well, wow, that's a tough act to follow. We are so fortunate to have the foundation, and just so blessed, and it just makes me so proud. This is my 24th year, but Mr. Hicks and I have been here 24 years, and we just get prouder every year of what we're doing and the support that we get. And so we had a great time today with your students. We had 3 different waves of about 75 to 80 students. They were so well behaved. And we talked to them, we shared the same information with them today that we're sharing with you tonight. And then we took them on a tour, and then they got to experience our career technical education fair, which was awesome. So anyway, thank you for bringing your kids to Fernandina Beach High School. So, and Mr. Hicks will be their counselor for 4 years. We follow our students when they enter high school. So he's going to be responsible for making sure that what's up on the screen. And also, if you didn't pick one up, every family should have received it's a course registration guide that has a lot of information in there. Your students didn't get one. We saved those to give to you guys tonight. So everything that's up on the screen is in the guide. They will receive their course request forms, I think, tomorrow. So to graduate from Fernandina Beach High School in the state of Florida, students have to have 24 credits. They will earn 7 credits every year because we have 7 periods and they earn a credit as long as they pass everything, which we hope they will. So they'll end up with more credits, and some of them who are already taking high school credits at the middle school will transfer to FBHS with some high school credits, and we reminded them that they've already started working on their high school grade point average, and that's coming with them. So the importance of staying strong and finishing strong. So of those 24 credits, as you can see on the screen, 4 of those have to be in English, 4 have to be in math, 2 of which must be Algebra 1 and geometry. And if your student is college bound, we encourage, even if they're done with 4 math credits at the end of junior year, they need to take a math their senior year. Prepares them for college and also strengthens those college applications. They, so algebra, geometry, and then 2 additional maths. Then they have to take 3 sciences, 1 of which must be biology, 3 social studies, world history, U.S. history, government economics, and Mr. Hicks will go into a little more detail when he's going over the course request form about some of these courses. They have to have 1 credit of a practical or performing fine art or career technical course, which we have a lot of options for that. They have to have a half credit of a personal financial literacy course, 1 credit of HOPE. If your student's not already taking HOPE this year at the middle school, that would be a course that they'd have freshman year. And then the elective credits always take care of themselves. As long as they're passing all their classes, they don't have to worry about meeting that because that'll be just be part of their schedule. Then they have to pass the grade 10 FAST, the PM3 that they take at the end of their 10th grade year. They'll take a FAST in 9th grade, they'll do the same progress monitoring, PM1, 2, and 3 in 9th grade, and then they'll do it again in 10th grade. And then that last one at the end of 10th grade is the one that they need to pass. And then they need to pass the Algebra 1 EOC. If for some reason a student doesn't pass the Algebra 1 EOC this year, there are retake opportunities for that if they're taking it at the middle school. All right, I think the next thing I'm talking about is the FAST, and that PM3. So Mr. Hicksel, he will look at the scores that they have currently when he's going through and looking at course request forms, looking at grades. And so he'll look at the current scores, and then when those PM3 scores come in, those will be reviewed again, because we do look at those for course placement. And we look at those also to determine whether honors is appropriate for a student, and then as they move along as some of the higher level classes, advanced placement or dual enrollment. Then your EOCs, the state EOCs that students have to take and pass or part of their grade. Algebra 1, I already mentioned. They'll take, and that one they have to pass. Geometry, they have to take an EOC, state EOC at the end of the year. That's not one they have to pass, but it's 30% of their grade. So it's still important for them to do well. The same applies to biology. We have a state EOC at the end of the year, and that's 30% of their grade. And a United States history state EOC, and that's part of their grade as well. And that's as of today's. I mean, that has not changed in a while. So grade point average. Grade point average can be kind of daunting to, if you're not familiar with grade point averages and how they're calculated, but a GPA is calculated and it's an average of all of the high school grades, and it changes each semester. The only thing that's different is your EOC courses aren't going to go into the GPA until the end of the year after that EOC is factored in. And the GPA, the default GPA, is an unweighted GPA based on a 4-point scale. And then we have a weighted GPA. This is a new slide that we decided to share with students and parents so that they can begin to kind of understand a little bit. So that weighted GPA is on a 5-point scale, and it's a way to view the overall performance through the lens of the rigor of the curriculum. So the full weighted point gets added to your honors, AP, and dual enrollment. And that goes into the district GPA calculation for the weighted GPA. And I don't think I mentioned the GPA. They have to have maybe a 2.0 GPA to graduate. All right.
Hi everyone. I also don't know if we said this at the beginning, but if anyone needs to use the restroom, it's just right across the breezeway here into the next building, essentially. So college planning is up there on the screen. We don't expect all your 8th graders to come in knowing exactly what they want to do after high school, but it is good to start thinking about what you might want to do after high school. This can help us kind of determine what classes they'll take in high school, and if they are thinking about going to college, just to make sure that they keep their GPAs up. They want to take some rigorous courses to stay competitive amongst other students, There is very competitive colleges out there. So if that is something that they're interested in pursuing, just keep that in mind. But again, we don't expect everyone to go to college. We don't expect everyone to know what they want to do when they enter high school. Even honestly, when they graduate high school, they don't know what they want to do. But if they have an idea, it does help us kind of help them. And we do have, though, for college planning, we do have the College and Career Center here that was also founded by our foundation. We do have a lot of college representatives that come to our campus who love to speak to students, to talk about their schools, about their colleges, about how students can stay, again, competitive amongst the other applicants. So we are constantly having college reps here. And yeah, there's a bunch of online resources, which are actually in the packet too, that can help you with that college planning process. On top of that, or to add to that, is the SATs and ACTs. These are college readiness tests. Your students, when they enter high school in October, all freshmen and sophomores and juniors will take the PSAT. That is free to you guys, free to your students. That is a practice SAT. So we do that every year in October. It gives us a good indicator as to where they would score on an SAT. And then junior year, the state pays for all juniors to take the SAT as well. So they will take it at least once during their high school career. The actual SAT, that is college reportable. But we do suggest that students take sometime in their college or high school career at least maybe 3 times a test to get the score that they want. We also suggest students take both the SAT and ACT to get a good feel as to which one they prefer. And this probably isn't until junior year, but again, this is just information for you guys to prepare as you enter into high school. We do have dual enrollment students, so kind of classes to go off of college. So these are college classes. We have an articulation agreement with the Florida State College of Jacksonville, FSCJ. So we have students that take college classes taught by college professors that earn both a college credit and a high school credit. So those are dual enrollment classes. They are mostly offered to juniors and seniors, but we do have one that is offered to sophomores, which is like an intro to dual enrollment course. So these are similar to AP classes, which Mr. Hicks will go into a little bit more depth, but again, these are college classes that our students are able to take here at Fernandina Beach High School. In addition to that, we do have a lot of CTE courses, or career technical education courses. Ms. Coombs touched on it a little bit. We had the CTE fair today, so most of your students, or all of your students, got to walk through and see the CTE classes that we have here at Fernandina Beach High School. Mr. Hicks will also talk about those in a little bit when he goes over the electives, but there is also some CTE offerings out at the Bean Center, which is the Nassau campus of FSCJ, out in Yulee by the courthouse. There is a lot of different classes that students can take that will give them this industry certification. So like HVAC, aviation maintenance, 911 telecommunications, welding will be new this year, mechatronics, and the EMT program there at the bottom. All of those, at the end of the course, you will take a test and you could get a certification. So for example, students who take the HVAC class at the end of the year, they will take a certification exam and they could essentially be certified as an HVAC technician and get a job right after high school. Most of these are only open to juniors and seniors, but again, just things to start thinking about as your students go through high school. Bright Futures is a scholarship for students that are going to public universities in the state of Florida. Most of you have probably heard of it, but it is potentially you could earn up to 100% tuition paid for public universities in the state of Florida. There is a GPA component to that. There is a testing component to that, so that goes back to the SAT and ACT that I was just speaking about. There's also a CLT exam, which is the classical learning test. It's newer to the state of Florida. Some students do prefer that though. And then there is community service or work hours also component to it. So there's no longer community service hours that are required for high school graduation purposes, but for Bright Futures to earn this scholarship there is. So that is something that any of your students can start earning or start counting as soon as they graduate from middle school. So the summer before high school and all throughout high school, any community service hours or work hours, they can count towards Bright Futures. This is our contact information. It should be like the second to last page in your packets. And then save the date for Pirate Invasion, which is freshman orientation. So this year it will be July 30th. So we hope you can all meet us again back in here. And that should be on the last page of your packet too, so you don't need to memorize that or anything. But I will now give it over to the class of 2030 school counselor, Mr. Hicks.
Thank you. Excited to be working with you guys. The way our job works is, I'll have your kids for 4 years, and particularly senior year, there's a lot to do as we put next year in place. And Ms. Hart asked me this morning if I was excited, and I am, because today is when we kind of take delivery of that raw product that I get to work with over the next 4 years, and looking forward to when your students are sitting in these same chairs 4 years from now. We practice graduation in here, and it goes quick, guys. So tomorrow, your students should receive their registration form from the middle school. And it'll be a pink piece of paper, a two-sided pink piece of paper. This is one page. We'll look at the other page in a second. Let's go back for a second. So at the top, just a recap of those graduation requirements and a little bit of information there. And then, I'll just what I'm going to do is kind of move you through what the curriculum for next year will look like and how that will be put together. So we have 7 classes here at FHS. I know at the middle school they block language arts and math, and we don't do that here, so we'll have 7 unique classes. English is obviously one of those. Your student will be in either English 1 or English 1 honors. The criteria that we use to determine honors is basically we're looking for grades and how they are doing in their language arts class now, and we look at those FAST test scores. And I stressed to your students earlier today that when they take those FAST scores in the next couple of months, that they do need to give us their best effort on those and do well. That's not the end all. Again, some students test are weaker than others, and again, we look at how they're performing in the classroom as well. For math, your student should either be in pre-algebra or algebra 1 right now. The students who are in pre-algebra will head to algebra 1 with us next year. And the students who are in algebra 1 will head to either math for college liberal arts, geometry, or geometry honors. Again, the criteria that we use to determine that placement comes down to how they're doing in their math class right now, and especially for the algebra 1 kids, how they do on that algebra 1 EOC. And then for science, your student will be in either environmental science, biology, or biology honors for next year. So sort of 3 levels there. Again, grades and test scores will be the deciding factor there. So 8th graders take civics in Florida. Florida freshmen typically do not take a social studies. The state only requires 3 social studies. They're very specific. It's standard practice throughout the state for sophomores to kick off world history as in the 10th grade. Juniors take U.S. history. Seniors take half a credit each of government and economics. So in that sort of social studies hole in their schedule or social studies line, one of two things happen. This year, the middle school is teaching Hope. This is the first year that Hope has been offered at the middle school. So a lot of your students are taking Hope now. For those who aren't, we'll put Hope in that line, in that kind of fourth line there on their schedule. The students who don't have Hope will then have another elective essentially to choose from in their schedule. And then beyond that, then there are 3 elective options to choose from. And so that's kind of the bottom half of the page here. And so so this is the part where you guys come in. Let me say one more thing about the core classes. At the freshman level, we kind of select the core classes for you. And you guys are welcome to write us notes and stuff here too. It's not that we don't value your input, we absolutely do. As you move forward in high school, sophomore and junior, senior year, there is a part where you guys kind of weigh in a little bit more on those core classes. But electives is the primary point for input here. And so what we're asking you to do in these boxes on the left-hand side, we want you guys to rank your top 6 elective choices. So the class you want the most, put a 1 by, second most a 2 by, third most a 3 by. Okay. We don't want check marks on these. Okay. We're looking for some priority on these, which is why we ask that ranking. Now again, your students should have either 3 or 4 electives on their schedule next year, but we do ask for those backup options. We do give preference to our upperclassmen. Some of these classes will be full. And we will have more demand for some of these classes than we have seats. And so when that happens, we give preference to our upperclassmen. Your children will be seniors in time, and they will have that advantage eventually. But for now, freshmen are on the low end of the total poll. So having those backup options for us are very important. We'll do what we can. My job is easier when I'm able to make you guys happy, and so. Want to be able to get your child in their top choice, but we're going to do that realistically across the board. So I want to describe a little bit about each one of these classes here, so you have a sense of what's happening. Culinary arts, of course, is cooking. This is our culinary lab. It's a full industrial kitchen, and so students in Culinary 1 do a lot with food safety. They actually take a safe serve exam that certifies them to work in a restaurant. It can give them a little bit of an edge if they're looking for a job, and just sort of some basic food production practices. Chef Mike Gass has been with us for a long time. Very good, very popular class. Business education comes in a couple different ways. That's digital information technology and hospitality and tourism. The digital information technology class is kind of your typical high school computer class. They get pretty heavy into the Microsoft Office application with Word and Excel and PowerPoint. And then hospitality and tourism obviously has a lot of relevance in this community. With the Ritz and the Omni. This is a picture of our ViStar branch. We do have a branch of ViStar on campus. It's right across the hall over here. That functions just like a real bank. You can do everything in there that you could at any other ViStar in town, and is run by students. So students who stick with our business classes, either of those, can go on to ViStar. And I should say that all of these electives that we'll be talking about have subsequent years. So culinary, for example, if you take culinary 1, you can move on to culinary 2. You never have to. There's no obligation to move on to another year of a course, but you have that option if you choose to. Our aerospace science class starts as sort of an aviation survey course, so they'll touch a little bit on everything, aircraft maintenance, aircraft design, piloting, air traffic control, a little bit of rocketry. We are fortunate to have an airplane. There's not a lot of public high schools that have their own airplane, but this one does, which is pretty cool. Of course, the airplane does not live at FBHS, it lives at the airport. And so students who move through this program, freshmen would not do this in Air Force One, but eventually would be at, going to the airport and going up. And so it is possible to for your child in their time at FBHS to obtain not only their driver's license, but also their pilot's license. And you're worried about them getting their permit. AP Human Geography, this is the one AP class that we offer to freshmen. And AP is kind of our bread and butter, so I'll take a moment to talk a little bit about this. So AP stands for Advanced Placement. And if you're not familiar with it, it's a national program that's run by the College Board, or the same people that sponsor the SAT. In an AP class, at the end of the year, students take an exam, and that exam is administered to every student in that class in the country on the same day at the same time. And that exam is scored as either a 1, 2, a 3, 4, or 5. Typically, a 3, 4, or 5 is considered passing and will earn that student college credit. Because there's an opportunity to earn college credit there, we teach them at a pretty rigorous level, at a college level, which means they're a little difficult. And so we are careful about the students that we put in there. For freshmen that might be headed to AP Human Geography, we're looking for students who are making pretty close to straight A's across the board, and also are scoring very well, usually 5s on their test. If you choose not to take AP Human Geography next year, that does not exclude you from taking an AP class at any point in the future, not in the least. So we've got some data that from the College Board, the AP Human Geography is a good starting place for freshmen and a good place to start into the AP program. But again, if you don't take, we call it HUG, okay, AP Human Geography, we have a lot of acronyms for our AP class. So if you don't take HUG next year, it doesn't keep you from doing any of these other classes down the road. And just what happens in AP Human Geography is it is kind of looks at cultures throughout different areas, and pays probably some special attention to how geography can influence culture. We have visual arts. This is your typical high school art classes. We teach drawing, painting, and ceramics. If you go downtown over Christmas and you see all the windows painted, those are painted by our art students. Our art teachers are very good. Performing arts, this is kind of the music category here. If your student is involved with the band at the middle school, they probably already know Mr. Odom. We are going to teach chorus next year. We haven't taught chorus in several years, but we hope to do that next year if the demand is there. There's also piano is an option there. You don't really need any musical experience for piano, so you can kind of start with square one with that. Band and jazz band, probably kind of need to know what you're doing for this group. Gifted, if your student has been deemed gifted by Nassau County Schools, they would be eligible for this class. Ms. French likes to get into art, does a lot of art appreciation, art history, and gets into some classic literature as well. Digital communication with Ms. Jenkins. These guys get into the Adobe software, a lot of photo manipulation. They train in Photoshop and Illustrator. They'll do a little bit of animation. And these are also the guys who put our yearbook together. So if your student's working with the yearbook, next door, then this would be their path into that. Got our world languages. Many of you might have a student who is taking Spanish 1 right now, next door. This is the first year that we have offered Spanish at the middle school. If your student is in Spanish 1 next door now, they should anticipate taking Spanish 2 with us next year, unless it's a complete disaster over there. Just because you don't need 2 years of a world language to graduate high school. That's a commonly confused thing. You don't need 2 years of a world language to graduate high school. But any 4-year university, Florida, Florida State, UNF, Georgia, UCF, any of those guys, is going to want to see 2 years of a consecutive world language. And most of our students do graduate with 2 years of a world language, but it's not required. So again, it's if you did Spanish 1 in the 8th grade and then you didn't take it in the 9th grade and then came back to it in the 10th grade, I imagine some rust would have grown over at that point, and Spanish 2 would probably not go as well as it could. So we highly, highly, highly recommend that you put those courses back to back. If your student is not in Spanish, and let me be clear, just that the middle school is teaching 2 kinds of Spanish. There is a high school credit-bearing Spanish course, and there is a middle school Spanish course that does not bear high school credit. If you're in the middle school Spanish, those students would start in Spanish 1 with us, and they could move on to Spanish 2 their sophomore year. And if they're not in Spanish at all over there, then Spanish 1 is certainly on the table, and we teach French, obviously, as well. PE comes in a few different ways. We teach team sports, basketball, and volleyball, which happens in the gym, and we also teach weight training. We do encourage our athletes to take weight training. It's not required, and there are many students who aren't athletes who choose to take weight training, so that goes both ways. But the coaches do like to see their students in weight training. Faster, better, harder, stronger, FBHS, that's what we're doing. And then we kind of have an other category there. We've got creative writing, debate, parenting, journalism, psychology and sociology, leadership, and then philosophy honors and anthropology honors, which are a couple of weighted electives there. So we would like to have these forms back by next Friday. They'll turn them in at the middle school. The middle school will make sure that they get their way back to us. Again, if there's things on that paper that you think I need to be aware of, just write me a note in the margin. These are not forms that get like scanned into a machine and the machine does all the work. They don't get farmed around to a million different people. They're really my tool, and we'll spend a lot of time with those forms between now and August on the first day of school. So again, if there's something unique about your kid, let me know that. If your kid is an aspiring chef and they really, really want to take 4 years of culinary, then let me know that. You know, if they have their lifelong dream is to go to Spain and visit there, and they really want to get Spanish and take 4 years of Spanish, then let me know those things. Having said that, the best piece of advice that I can give you in the scheduling stuff is to think about your child's strengths and weaknesses and do what is right for this child in this moment in time in their lives. Don't worry about what an older sibling might have done. Don't worry about what your nephew or your niece did in their time at FBHS. Don't worry about what your neighbors are doing. Don't let your child pick classes based solely on what their best friend is doing. Make decisions for your child that are right for that kid. And if today's not the time for AP, then don't take AP. If it is, then let's do it. But think about your child and what they're prepared to do right now, and you can't go wrong. Our motto with scheduling is to challenge yourself appropriately, okay? And that's what we're trying to do. We want your kids to learn. We want them to reach a little bit harder, to do some good things. We don't want to throw them in the deep end and put them over their head and watch them struggle. And we don't want them to everything to be too easy either. So finding a balance between that. We do this process every single year, okay? And it's different every single year. We got students who are awesome language arts students and aren't so good at math, okay? And those students might be in honors English class or in a regular math class. That's fine. And we got the opposite of that. And we got students who do great their freshman year in one subject area, and then they go in their sophomore year and it's not as good, and we adjust it. Okay, so everything changes every year. We do this, we look at schedules as a whole, we look at them we look at individual subject areas, so there's a lot of kind of different angles that we look through these things. And again, we look at them over and over again. So again, look forward to working with you guys, and probably have time for a couple of questions that I bet some of you have.
If they take hope over the summer, that's still like full virtual, is it okay, or is that not going to be?
No, that's fine. Traditionally, a lot of eighth graders have chosen to take Hope online over the summer. Having the middle school teach Hope is new, so I don't know how that will impact the online. If your student wants to take Hope online, that's fine. That's probably the type of thing you would write me a note just to let me know. Otherwise, if they haven't had Hope at the middle school, kind of by default, we're going to put Hope on their schedule unless we have an invitation. That's not
Just
the
keep
plan.
in mind, it's a 2-semester class, and finishing it over the summer might be tough. Unless you like go ahead and sign up for it now, but you only have 2 months to do that, so they might not be able to finish it all, depends.
I know that's not the only question.
I might offer a piece of advice to make sure to tell your students not to make any changes on the form after you guys go over it, because that does happen. After, they get to school and check it against their friends, so that can happen.
It's, I think, sometimes students think that, well, I'm definitely going to be with my friend if I put this elective, and we teach those classes all day long, so it's likely that I'm going to have a second period, you're going to have a fifth period, and we're not going to be together anyway. So it's not really wise to pick classes based solely on trying to be with your friends, because you're probably going to end up as disadvantages.
We just have one lunch, so they'll get to see their friends stuff.
Yeah. Are there really no more questions? Yes, ma'am. AP capstone is for juniors and seniors.
Would they be adding AP foreign language for French or Spanish?
So we don't teach Spanish, AP Spanish and French. However, high achieving Spanish 4 and French 4 students, at the teacher's discretion, we have been known to give the AP exam to a select number of students who are doing very well. It won't ever appear as AP on their schedule, but there is an opportunity for students who do very well.
Is there a designated time where the students are able to meet with you, or is that something that they have to schedule on their own?
So, freshman and sophomore year, quite frankly, it's kind of a as you need me basis. I make sure that I do see students for some FaceTime at least once a year, but we also have a system, we have QR codes, and so students scan that with their phone, and they fill out a very short form, and we check that all day long. And so students who need to see us for any reason, we're pretty accessible through that.
Your dual enrollment, when they are eligible for those, you said that they take college courses
on-campus dual enrollment class that we have is an English class for juniors and seniors. Beyond that, they're depending on FSCJ's schedule. We're really talking junior year now, and who knows where we'll be in 2028. But or what FSCJ's schedule will look like 2028. There might be some online classes, but likelihood they would probably need to travel to FSC 20s. Yes, ma'am. We have early college. I'm sorry, we don't have early college.
We do have,
We have early admission.
yes, and it's a full, like, senior year, they have a certain GPA, they do full-time dual enrollment. We're still a student in SDHS, but we're on campus all day, but they could come back. They could take up to 15 credit hours per semester. Senior year. They could take up to 3 junior year each semester. There's 2 of them being on campus.
All right, we will see you July 30th for Fire Invasion.
Part of it is for students and parents.